Hey, so welcome back to my channel. It's nice to have you back. Yeah, we're still in mazes. I know it's only the second video and I'm still in mazes and not showing you a lot of the gameplay, but we'll get there. So this week, this maze anyway, is almost twice as big. If anything, the first one maze was 5 by 5. This one is probably closer to 10 by 7. And it was only cut due to like where I located it. And I just ran out of space. I think would be the best, quickest way of saying oops. But oh well. All right, so let's get into it. So the second maze is harder than the first maze, but by just a little bit. So as you can see, I've got, again, that grid system going, except for one of the main issues that I had in the first maze is that I kept running out of space, like where to jam in a gate versus a fence. Sometimes if there are too many gates, it didn't want to put yet another gate in there, so I had to like rearrange the maze. It's still a solvable maze, but I had to rearrange a maze enough in order to get everything to jam in there. So I started off this same grid system, right? I started off that same like exact width of maze, but then I decided to instead go with a gap. So that way it was like every other one had one extra gap, so that way I could finagle things a whole lot easier if I need. So yeah, that first one is butted up. The next one, you can see there's two posts next to each other. Then the next one's butted up, and then the next one has two posts next to each other. So that's how I ended up building up that maze, and that helps significantly reduce the time in order to actually create the maze. I spent a whole lot less time trying to figure out, do I need to flip the maze, flip the gate? Do I need to like move it a little bit this way? Do I need to make sure that I am on the other side of the fence post? It was a little frustrating on that side of things. So it's like I assumed, hopefully, that doing something like that would be helpful, and it was. So I'm actually very happy about starting off the maze like that. Very beneficial. So getting this maze started, I actually did two rows at one time before doing a vertical column. And that was kind of the easiest way of still being able to see everything.
Then I should have two more things to do.
Yeah, I just think that that'll help. Again, it was a really methodical way that proved to be very efficient and effective with getting all of these things put in. So just like from the from the aerial view, I wanted to make sure that you couldn't just like easily like look over and solve it. And it's like, sure, you can jump over these mazes and these gates, like, okay, you can cheat for sure. But I wanted to have it to where you can't see the whole thing from an aerial perspective.
There you go.
So yeah, that's kind of what it looks like with the gates and the mazes as far as getting started putting them in. This next video is more in the finished maze area. So it's not completely finished. Clearly there's still a couple rows and still a couple columns, I guess, to do as far as creating a maze, but kind of gives you a little bit more of a sense of what's going on here. I did have to go collect more wood to create these fencing and these gates. I think I had enough fence posts, but I definitely did not have enough wood to make gates. They also only come one in an inventory spot, so I had to keep going back to fill up my inventory with gates to then be able to put them in. So there was a lot of traveling, going back and forth between plots and crafting more and more fencing and more gates. But
so you should be able to walk through them.
Anyway, yeah, that's about where it's almost done. And again, I don't want to give away how to actually run the maze, so I don't have any like walkthroughs specifically of this. They're not, at least these two are not that difficult. Here's kind of that aerial perspective. Again, it's not finished, and there's no way you can tell where the beginning and the end and how to link those two up from here. So I feel pretty confident in just showing you this picture.
Okay, so I've only got one gate left.
That if you still wanted to enjoy the maze, you totally could.
The fact that it's at least somewhat lined up. 4 more gates. 1, 2,
So again, I really enjoyed making that maze. If you want to do it, you can search for me. Unfortunately, my name on Palia is not Lizzacane. It's actually Lizado. It's basically my nickname and then some sort of weather pattern added in. Like, you know, lizard is very close to blizzard. So that's just kind of where it came from. Lizado is just a fun one, but apparently characters are too short for other platforms, so I had to make it be Lizzacane, which I actually really enjoy Lizzacane. Well, guys, next week I've got one more maze to show you, and then I actually have a little treat for after that. I have heard back from the inspector, and he's excited to come by the maze plots. So that'll be fun. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.